Welcome to today's program, and I have the most extraordinary guest. It's Gracia Burnham, and many of you listeners have prayed for Gracia, and this is an amazing miracle that she's with us here at the NRB convention in Nashville, Tennessee. Gracia, first of all, thank you for being on the program.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Well, you were pictured in just about every newspaper in the world at one time, and it was not a very pleasant time, I'm sure, for you. But let's go back a little bit. Where are you from, and how did you find the Lord?
Oh, my dad's a pastor. I grew up in family devotions hearing about the Lord, and at a very young age gave my life to Jesus.
And where was this?
Well, we moved a lot. We were in Canada for a while. We were in Illinois for a while. We were in Kansas City for a while. We didn't stay put very long.
Okay. And what led up to was this because your dad preached all the time? One day you just felt you needed to give your life to Christ, or what?
Probably. I think God draw me to himself early in life.
Yeah.
But then I went off to Bible college, and that's where I met Martin Burnham.
Yeah.
He was an MK. He was a missionary kid from the Philippines.
Wow.
And I think God called me to Martin there.
Which Bible college?
Calvary Bible College in Kansas City, Missouri.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, could you describe a little bit of what type of person Martin was, why you were attracted to him?
He was very calm, cool, collected. He was a pilot. I knew he was an excellent pilot.
Yeah.
Like most MKs, he wasn't worried about his public image. He was who he was, and he wasn't going to try to be look like Americans, and that intrigued me about him. He would wear a suit and cowboy boots. So, bless his heart. I think God called me to Martin and called Martin to the mission field, and I was thrilled.
Were you pretty conservative in those days, though?
I was.
So were you shocked with the way he behaved?
No. Yeah. He
Yeah.
just was his own person. I just really liked that about him.
Yes, yeah. Oh, that's great. So how long were you allowed to court in the Bible college, or was it a pretty strict place?
We were allowed to court.
You could hold hands and all that
Oh,
sort of
no.
stuff? Oh,
Of
no.
course not. At Bible college, you didn't do that sort of thing, did you? Not back when I was a kid.
Did you have to sign a form that you wouldn't dance and you wouldn't chew and you wouldn't hold hands or something?
Do you know what? I don't remember a form.
Yeah.
We just sort of knew what was expected of us.
Yeah.
And, hey, I've always been a rule follower, good or bad, you know, probably bad, because I had to learn to walk by grace a lot. And
So how did he propose to you?
we went flying, and then he drove me to Arkansas, a state away. And on the way to Arkansas, we stopped in a little town called Burnham, Missouri.
Ooh,
right?
what a
Burnham,
name.
Martin Burnham.
Yeah.
And a little town, there was nothing there.
Yeah.
And he asked me to marry him there.
Wow. Did he get on his knees? And can you remember what he said?
I don't think he got on his knees. He asked me if I would be his wife, and I think the first thing out of my mouth was, "Are you sure?" No, I was thrilled to marry Martin.
Was he your first boyfriend?
He wasn't my first boyfriend, but I knew that God had called me to him, and it didn't matter what he was going to do.
Yeah.
People say, "How did you get the missionary call?" I don't think I got the missionary call. I think I got the call to Martin, and so I just had my life mapped out for me.
Now, you said he was an MK from Philippines. Was that with New Tribes as well?
Yes, his parents were tribal missionaries, and he grew up at a boarding school in Manila,
wow.
Faith Academy.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I know Faith Academy.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. So initially, how long were you married before you actually moved overseas?
We weren't married very long.
Yeah.
Right away, we went into missionary training, and with New Tribes Mission, there's quite a bit of training.
Yeah, tell us what the sort of training entailed.
We did a year of what they used to call boot camp. They don't call it that anymore, just to get to know us. And so we would learn to live in Spartan conditions. And then for 6 weeks, we had to move out in the woods to jungle camp and just sort of live with whatever we took out there with us. We built our own house and just getting us ready. And then, of course, Martin had specific pilot training.
Yeah.
He had to learn to fly into little short strips built up the side of a mountain, because that's what he was going to face overseas.
Wow.
So we had good extensive training, but as soon as we were done with that training, we left for the Philippines.
And where were you based?
New Tribes Mission Aviation was based in Arizona. New Tribes Mission headquarters is in Sanford, Florida.
Okay. But when you went to the Philippines, where did you go to?
We first went to Aritao on the island of Luzon, the big island.
That's not exactly the safest place to go, is it there?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's pretty safe on Luzon.
Yeah. That's not one of the bad islands then.
Well, there are communist guerrillas up in the mountains, but yeah. We felt very safe, and we always avoided hot spots.
Yeah.
We were never careless.
So tell us your living conditions. Were you in like a little village or what?
We were in a small town because our job was to keep the tribal missionaries who lived out in the jungle areas where no roads went. Our job was to keep them supplied. So we had to have a good market. We had to have a little grocery store. We had to have a hospital when they flew, did medical evacuations. We had to have a hardware store. So we always lived in a small town where we could get supplies. And I was the radio operator, and I would talk to the people in the tribal village and take their grocery orders and their medicine orders. And
Martin would fly them in?
And Martin would box them up and fly them in. That was our job.
Wow.
We were just the supplier.
Yeah. What was the living conditions? Was it reasonably nice there?
Oh, yeah, everything's relative, right? We had running water. Of course, we didn't have hot water. We had running water. We had electricity when the rest of the community had electricity. It was, on and off.
You get animals running in and out, snakes or anything like
that? Yeah, we had snakes and rats and little lizards crawling along the walls. That's what you get when you live overseas in the tropics.
And by then, did you have any kids?
Our 3 children were born there in the Philippines. Once we got there, we started having children. We had 3 just right in a row.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
So lead us through to this terrible situation. You decided to have a break, did you? And you were going to go have a little sort of R&R. Tell us where you went and how it all fell apart.
Martin needed to go work on a small island in the southern Philippines called Palawan to fill in for a missionary pilot there. Martin had just been on a trip overseas and had jet lag, so he needed to rest. So we went out to a little island resort called Dos Palmas so he could get some rest. And we were only going to be there 24 hours. Went to bed that first night, and the next morning there was pounding on the door. And Martin got up even before he got to the door. These 3 guys with M16s broke the door in. One of them took him out. One of them came over to the bed and lowered his weapon at me and yelled, "Go, go, go." And I followed, and they were taking us down to a waiting speedboat at the dock.
Yeah, the kids weren't with you, were
The
they?
children weren't with us. We had left them with coworkers.
Okay.
As we pulled away from the dock, these
Now,
guys...
What was the date?
May 27, 2001 was the date.
So did you suddenly realize this is bad?
Yes, when they raised their weapons in the air and yelled Allah Akbar. That's when we knew it was the Abu Sayyaf that had us. Everyone in the Philippines knows who the Abu Sayyaf are.
Can you explain who they are?
They are militant Muslims who've declared jihad in that area of the world. Only their jihad has degenerated into a kidnap for ransom group. And we knew we were in big trouble.
And how many people were taken altogether?
There were 20 hostages taken that day.
But you were the only missionaries?
We were the only missionaries. There were 3 Americans, Martin and I, and a businessman from California.
Okay. And it was pure, it wasn't a religious hijack, it wasn't a religious thing, it was just for money.
Yes, they didn't target us at all.
Yeah.
They were very disappointed to find that the Americans, that we were Americans. Americans don't play the the ransom game very well.
Yeah.
And missionaries don't have any money. They were hoping for European businessmen because they knew that they could get money from them.
So you go in the speedboat. Where are you taken then?
They took us about 3 days out over the ocean to a Muslim stronghold, a little island called Basilan, that they knew very well. They knew the trails, they knew the places, the villages that would give us food and supplies. And for the next year, we were running for our lives and sleeping on the jungle floor and drinking dirty river water and starving and witnessing the atrocities that these guys committed against villages as we would go through.
What were they doing then?
Well, to gain control, often when we went through a village, they would separate a few guys off to the side and chop their heads off. That's what...
Did you see that?
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
We heard that.
Yeah.
We heard the yells and the scuffles, and these were not honorable men.
Yeah.
They truly have, when people say Abu Sayyaf in the Philippines, it brings terror to the hearts of the Filipino.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So this went on. Did you finally settle in one place, or were you on the move?
No, we never settled in one place. We were always moving because the Philippine military were coming in trying to rescue us.
Yeah.
But they didn't really know much about hostage rescue.
Yeah.
When they found us, they would just, shoot up the camp, Rambo style. And we would have dead and we would have wounded. And we sort of knew that one of these days, those bullets were going to find us and we weren't going to survive the gun battles.
Wow. Did you know at the time how much publicity was going out on this?
We had no idea. Of course, we knew New Tribes Mission and our families were praying for us. And the little ripple effect, we didn't know that all over the world people were starting to pray for us. Yeah. Christian radio and broadcasting, and people just kept our names out there. And all of a sudden, these people who nobody knew, the world knew to start praying for Martin and Gracia. What would we have done without the prayers of God's people?
So how long did this go on for?
We were held hostage a little over a year, a year and 10 days.
And you still lived through it. I mean, you must have got sick quite a bit.
We got sick. We suffered from dysentery and diarrhea. We were dirty all the time. There were no clean clothes to change into. We started feeling more like animals than human beings. Wow. And often we felt forsaken. Yeah. Forsaken, God forsaken. And I used to tell Martin, everyone's forgotten us. I know it. This has gone on for so long. Everyone's forgotten us. Of course, we knew that wasn't true.